God, I miss Pepsi Blue. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sid Jones. Welcome back to a very special Sid Talks. We are live. If you're new here, you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, or whatever those famous YouTubers say. Give a thumbs up in the comments or something like that. And also, if you wouldn't mind, share this with your friends. Can you share on YouTube? I think you can. Anyways, let's get into it. So, yeah, this is Sid Talks. And for those of you, I don't know how to do the fucking YouTube shit. Let's just fucking get into it now. Jesus, with these stupid fucking queer ass introductions. So, we are here to discuss a couple of things. So, what we talked about last week, for starters, happy birthday, Sid Vicious. Fucking Sid, fucking legend. If it weren't for you, I would not be sitting here doing this podcast. So, thank you for that. So, back to my whole shtick here. So I'm still nothing from the Insane Clown Posse, and I'm noticing that a lot of these Juggalo YouTubers have nothing really to talk about. But I do. See, what people forget is I can talk about whatever it is that I want. And if I can't find a story, I'll fucking make one up. So something comes across my desk. So I'm tuned into whatever. And Rob Zombie or something like that. I see a flyer for Twiztid. It's going to open up for Rob Zombie. Now, my immediate thought is there's concerts coming back in 2021. That's awesome. But my other thought is, now what? Like with all this happening now, with the pandemic and shows coming back and vaccinations and what have you, is this promising, or shows going to get canceled again? Punk Rock Bowling's already been announced. NoFX will not be at Punk Rock Bowling. Apparently, they're controversial, which I thought was a little weird. Like, I never thought that Bat Mike would be considered offensive. That was never in my brain at all to consider that. So, I'm looking at other shows, and Rob Zombie, whom I've never gotten to see live, I never even got to meet the guy. I got to meet his cast. I got to meet Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, Tyler Main. So I got to meet some of those people, but I never got to meet the guy himself. So I want to go and see the show, and then I see Twiztid's on the bill. But here's my issue. Twiztid was on Warped Tour. So now we know for sure that Twiztid is not looking to stick around in the Juggalo world. They want to expand. Now, credit to Monoxide Child. Years ago, he did a live stream, one of his things on his phone while he was smoking a doobie in his car. He said, I want something new and brand new. I want it to be inclusive. I don't want it to be just Juggalos. I want metalheads. I want punk rock fans. Like, I want all these people at shows. I don't want it to be just close-knit. Inquisitor, how you doing, brother? Thank you for being here on this beautiful Monday. And again, we are celebrating Sid Vicious's birthday today. So I heard this, and we talked a little bit about it while I was watching this live stream, because I was messaging in it. But the problem is, I'm a rock guy. I love rock music. I love punk rock. I love metal. I love it all. Right? Autists are getting in the mainstream. They are, and that's a goal of theirs. Hence Astronomicon. That's why they're doing that. But here's the issue, and this actually comes from Astronomicon when I was there. So I'm at Astro, and I'm outside, I'm smoking a cigarette, and I see this couple. They come out, and the guy's joking with his girlfriend and says, hey, go, you don't want to get your picture taken with those ICP guys? And I'm thinking, oh my God, even to the outsiders who only know ICP, like, they know that Twiztid and ICP were somewhat affiliated acts. So Twiztid never even got a chance to rebrand. And then Magic Ninja Entertainment, of course, doesn't help things. Magic Ninja what was a chant that still said at ICP shows, right? So they didn't really get a chance to snap away from that. Twiztid is going to be on the stage in the parking lot. He says Eastsider. No, I think they'll be a part of the official show, according to what I've seen from Rob Zombie himself. But here's my problem, and it's a small problem. They're opening for Rob Zombie here in Michigan. Now, I get it. The Insane Clown Posse, they did festivals, right? They did festivals. I don't know if this is going to be a festival or if this is going to be like one stage, Zombie performs and all these others perform. If that's the case, I don't think they're quite equipped. And here's why. I mean this with love. I mean this with love. Okay. I mean this as like constructive criticism, right? From like somebody who liked your music. So I'm sitting in the car one time. This was about 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. And somebody had the gall to tell me, oh, dude, have you checked out Generation Nightmare? Yeah, no. Dude, you should totally check out Generation Nightmare. It's music you'd like. I saw the fucking logo and I was insulted. Have you not seen the logo? Have you not seen the logo for Generation Nightmare? Bro, it is a skull, like a generic skull with like lightning bolts, like drawn lightning. Like it looks like something you'd find on a Walmart t-shirt. I'm like, how dare you sit there and assume that that's the kind of music that I'd listen to? Yeah. Riff Fest always when the bands at the smaller print on the small stage in the parking lot. Yeah, I like Twiztid, but I can't see the crowd digging their stuff. And that's another thing that I'm getting into. How are they going to react to it? Because Twiztid's got a drummer, but they're still rappers. Now, when it came to Warped Tour, it was Warped Tour's last straw, right? And how Warped Tour works is you decide who you're going to go see. Like if you want to go see back in 2003, these are the bands I know, like the Briggs, Dropkick Murphys. Sometimes they'd have like a major band, like the Circle Jerks, like randomly show up. So you'd have to like designate like what stage you're going to be at. So main stage had like all like the major acts, like all like fucking Real Big Fish, Anti-Flag, No Effects. Like if those bands are playing, it would be at main stage. There's main stage 1, main stage 2. What Twiztid played was not main staged. What Twiztid played was like the evil stage, like the monster stage, or like it's one of those ones that like it's set for the obscure artists. So it's kind of a hierarchy at Warped Tour. It's like major artists, and then it like kind of tempos off, and like it goes this way, and then it goes this way. And if you want to go see Twiztid, but No Effects is playing around the same time, which I doubt would happen. No Effects would play at like 7:00 at night. But if it was like Twiztid, one of your other favorite bands, say the Briggs, right? Say the Briggs, they're playing. So you want to go see the Briggs, but Twiztid's playing. So you actually have to choose between which you want to go see. So my guess is those that were at the Twiztid stage were Twiztid fans. Does that make sense? Like the majority of the fans there were already there to see Twiztid. Like I'm sure there was other bands that they want to go see. Nobody pays $35 to go see a band play for a half hour. Like that's just not how money works. If you're smart, I pray you're smart. Smart people tend to watch my show. That's why there's not many. So when it comes to that market, when with Warped Tour, they weren't going to fail. Like it's hard to fail at a Warped Tour. Usually you'd be smart and you'd be booked at like the same level as Pepper. Okay. So like 10:00 in the morning, it's really just kind of acts, right? Even on main stage, they'd have Pepper play, but then you've got fucking weird college bands or whatever playing at these other stages. Okay. Kyle Driver, thank you for joining us. Much love to you, man. We were just talking a little bit about some of my criticisms I've got, some of my concerns. So Generation Nightmare, right, is what they had set after Warped Tour, if you remember. It was Warped Tour and then Generation Nightmare. So they kind of drank that Kool-Aid. They kind of got that like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like we are awesome. Like we've gotten more fans from this genre, but you didn't, because I know how Warped Tour works. Now, Kyle Driver knows how Warped Tour works. Inquisitor, I don't know if they've got Warped Tour over in England, unless you've flown over to Warped Tour. I don't know I'm not going to assume if you know how Warped Tour works or not. I think you do know, because I told you in one of my videos that I did 5 years ago. Can you believe that? 4 years ago. I'm sorry, it was 4 years ago when I was at Warped Tour and How to Survive It. Kyle Driver writes, plus they had Bill Moseley on that Almighty. Right. So, I mean, Axe is good. Axe is good. And to have somebody like Bill Moseley doing like an intro or doing something is dope. But Axe is very horror oriented. So if Axe were to play at like Horror Gore 2021, it'd be fitting. I think they'd do all right. I mean, it would be Zool fans for sure there. It'd be Zooligans there at that stage. But I think that there would be like that curiosity piece of like, you know, me and my friends walking around drinking beers. You know, none of the artists that are playing right now, like there's no artist playing. So we're kind of like just going around 5 minutes at this stage, 5 minutes at this stage, just until like fucking, you know, some major horror band plays. Think of one. and we come across Zool and we're like, oh, these guys are kind of dope, right? Like, the Axis Family is probably like the only song I really like from Axe. Sorry. I was not a fan of the Almighty album. It's just not my forte. It's just not my thing. But I could foresee them playing it like a horror festival where it's like, horror, shock, gore, blood, 2021. I could see it. Very niche. It'd be very niche, but a show nonetheless. But now Twiztid came out with a recent album where they had like, shout outs to Eminem. They had guitar, which I've criticized, where it's guitar riff, but there's no like singing to like kind of like go with like the drop or kind of go with the rhythm. It's literally just lines of guitar playing on like the second or third layer. And then you've got Monoxide like rapping over that, right? Now, what they should have done, like Monoxide, some of the best work Monoxide had done was off of the Last American Rockstars album, that song Rock and Roll, where he was like, you want the official word? Well, let me give you two. The first one is fuck. The second one is you. I'm like, oh, my dick got hard when I heard that. My God, Monoxide Child, that was fucking amazing. That was fucking epic. But that was with Last American Rockstars. Like that's where that came from. So what I would have done, we got Killard Obey, Zillard Obey in the building. How you doing, Zillard Obey? Are you like a Billy Obey guy, or is that like the Billy Obey of the almighty fucking Ala Zulilu? Like I said, not a huge fan of the music. Do I respect the guys? Absolutely. Think about it. How can you not respect Ala Zulilu? Those guys started at like opening for Twiztid, and then they're like, what was it, a year later? Those fuckers headlined their own tour a year later. That's like AJ Styles entering the Royal Rumble at like some fucking random number, and then 233 days later wins the WWE title. Like, that is fucking phenomenal. I guess it's a poor comparison. Like, AJ Styles, like, kind of like he'd been a wrestler for a while, but Zool's been at it too. Right. So I guess that is actually a fair comparison. The more I think about it, I think that's a fair comparison. They are the AJ Styles of Magic Ninja Entertainment, and I think that's fair. Zoolard is cool though. It would be Billy Cox if it was Bill. Okay. So I'm Zool again. I'm doing good, homie. Nice. Okay. So we got Zool fans in the building. Glad we brought that up. So I'd have faith in Zool doing that, right? Matter of fact, I would even argue that having Zool. Now, this comes from the executive level of thinking, okay? Now, Twiztid, you've got Generation Nightmare. You did good at Warped Tour. I would be working with, like, I don't know, some 41, right? Like, try that level, okay? But to go to the Rob Zombie, you don't have anything heavy metal. You don't have anything to that level of rock. Now, at the same time, you're going to have a lot of Twiztid fans there to see Twiztid. There are a lot of Twiztid fans like Rob Zombie, a lot of ICP fans like Rob Zombie. It just fucking makes sense. Rob Zombie. Okay, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get chewed out for saying this, but Rob Zombie did a fucking amazing cover of Blitzkrieg Bop. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Now, I'm like the only guy under God's hot sun that liked that version of Blitzkrieg Bop. I don't know why, but that's the case. And I thought it was fucking solid. So it makes sense. Like, I'm a Rob Zombie guy. Do I like his new music? Not particularly, but he's not bad either. Like, if somebody was like, hey, Sid, I got 2 tickets to go see Rob Zombie, I wouldn't say no. Like, that's not what would come out of my mouth. I'd be like, what time, what day? Because we're going to that. It's not like on that level of like, hey, man, I got 2 tickets to go see Sum 41. If I'm not, cutting my throat that day or some shit. You know what I'm saying? So, do I see it with Twiztid? And somebody's saying it could be a parking lot, like they do that. They play at the parking lot because it is a festival, apparently. So that changes the spectrum of things. So fingers crossed that a Rob Zombie fan walks by and says, "Hey, these guys are dope." Fine, cool, whatever. But here's the kicker: I'm pretty sure that Twiztid had a network that way in, because I can't, or knew somebody. And again, that's where Astronomicon comes into play. They're smart when it comes to rubbing shoulders with motherfuckers. Okay? That they are very business savvy. I got to give it to them. Magic Ninja Entertainment knows business. Okay? They do. They understand business. I I have a motionless tattoo. I've seen them 4 times. Oh, no shit. I would say no. I like White Zombie. Never been a Rob Zombie fan. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So you like White Zombie over Rob Zombie? That's cool too. I remember White Zombie on what was it? Twisted Metal 3 did the intro. Right, that was like my first introduction to like Rob Zombie's music. That and the movie House of a Thousand Corpses, because I wasn't even listening to his music, and then I heard House of a Thousand Corpses, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm sold. Like this is Rob Zombie. Like this is dark. I love it. So anyway, if it's a festival thing, it makes sense because Twiztid wants to be all inclusive. But that's what you can say what you want about M&E. Twiztid's music sucks. Fuck them for ditching us at the march. Like you can say all that shit. But when it comes to business, these guys are pretty fucking savvy. All right, they're pretty savvy. M&E butchered Zool's Necronomicon 2 release. I don't follow that, so my apologies to that. But Kyle Driver brings up an interesting point. So I brought this up a couple of times, and I know other people have brought this up too. I know other YouTubers have mentioned this, and I think that all this kind of goes into play. Twiztid left, right? Twiztid left Psychopathic. Now, it was not because of Abominations being poorly promoted. We know that because of the lack of the Hatchet Man on the cover. Monoxide Child wearing the Misfits t-shirt that he was wearing for the promo of it. Like, so we know that Monoxide Child, Jamie Madrox were not happy over at Psy. Here's my concern. You become what you despise as enough time goes on. And I'd say, judging by what people are saying in the chat, they fucking gave Zool the Abominations treatment that they were given by ICP. All right. Now, I'm not going to say that's good business or bad business, but I can say that the irony is definitely clear and present. And again, if that's the case, I'm no expert. People were coming to me for journalistic integrity. I am not a journalist, and I have zero integrity. I have an opinion. All right. And those two are mutually exclusive 90% of the time. Eastsider writes, well, Twiztid played the Rob Zombie Festival. The Great American Festival years back. That I was not made aware of either. So I'm curious to see how this plays out, especially in 2021, especially with them. So, and my guess is that came out right around the time they were kind of, again, sampling some other products, sampling some other scenes and fan bases and such, which is what Twiztid wanted to do in the first place. So not only did Monoxide say, I want to do this, but they're at least putting the effort towards it. Now, what M&E does is they try and make it so that way they look dope and they look solid while they do that. So when you see pictures of Twiztid with Rob Zombie, they're not going to have that lanyard around their neck. You see, Twiztid's smart. They're going to make it so that way it looks like those two were just hanging out, chilling. They're posing for a camera, probably posing for somebody who's a fan of both of them. Is what there is. It's all marketing. It's all propaganda. All right. Twiztid, Magic Ninja, and both ICP and Psychopathic Records are geniuses when it comes to propaganda, when it comes to marketing and shit. Where Psychopathic has fallen short, though, is by offering content during the time of a pandemic, offering content to fans currently in this climate right now, where there's like a no man's land. So we got one album and the reviews were pretty poor. So if I was ICP and I was hearing poor reviews about my album, you guys would have gotten a fucking 5-song best. I mean, I would have stayed up late. If me and I'll say Kyle Driver, okay? So me and Kyle Driver, we release an album. Inquisitor comes up, he's our boss, he's our manager, whatever. He's our fucking guy, right? CEO of our record label of fucking Suck Our Dicks Production, okay? So Inquisitor comes in, CEO of Suck Our Dicks Production. He comes in and he's like, so your album, right? Your album to the millions of fans that like your shit. Yeah, what'd they say? They said it fucking sucked. Me and Kyle Driver would have sat there and been like, okay, the consensus is our music sucks now. How do we make it better? Okay. Well, you go back to what works. Amazing Juggalos Brothers. Hey, I got an idea. Let's do a Forgotten Freshness real quick. We got songs in the vault. We'll release a Forgotten Freshness, make up for it. Then we're going to release a 5-song EP. It doesn't have to be, related to our entire, story or our fucking, anthology. None of that shit. We're just going to come up with a dope ass 5-track EP. right? And we'll even fucking diss our own album that they also hated and be like, yeah, we kind of rushed it. That's what we would do because we love our fans, right? Like if somebody was like, hey, I read Avenging Roses and it fucking sucked, well, I'm working on another book to make sure that doesn't happen. I've gotten 0 reviews on Avenging Roses. It's a big book. My guess is my books have been coming in and people are like, oh, I'm expected to read this whole thing. Son of a bitch. So when it comes to that, I don't think Twiztid's got it down pat, and I don't think the Insane Clown Posse's got it down pat. I think what Twiztid's doing is they're looking at longevity, and what ICP is doing is they're going with what works for them right now. They're what they know, and what they don't know is technology. You know, shouts out to Shaggy Toodop and Keegan the Creep, but having nothing from fucking Jump Steady, having nothing from Violent J, kind of sucks. You know, you'd think that during the time of like, you know, everybody in lockdown, nobody able to go out and do much, like you would have given somebody content, especially if you can't do concerts. And we got Prom Night, and we got a half-ass CD. Like that's what we got. And the Juggalos are still down with them, and I don't blame them. You know, if the Dropkick Murphys released an album that wasn't so good, and they've released albums that I'm not a fan of, you know, you're still down for the cause. You just wait for the next one, right? You're like, well, fuck, you know, just wait another fucking 3 years for a dope album. In the meantime, I'm gonna listen to their older shit. I get that, but at the same time, you got to look at it like this: they're not doing anything new. They're not. Like they said, what was the last big thing that happened? They said we're canceling the Gathering of Juggalos, and the fucking media just put up clips of like even clowns and fans. They were still insulting them, right? They're like, hey, look, you're a scientist, but we've got fucking clowns that have better sense than you do, right? Even though Violent J, who's got the processor from like 1996, that's where his brain hardware is at, where he said, you can't stop the Juggalos, man. Can't stop the Juggalos. We can't be stopped. Of course, it's going to be a gathering. Juggalos will not be stopped. Like, I watched that, and I'm like, I got that like you're talking to a 6-year-old vibe. Like, it was very condescending and very patronizing. And again, that's because he's used to in-store things and whatever. That's probably why we don't hear a lot from Jay. And you know what? If you're not good at something, don't fucking do it, I guess. Like, because I saw that little shout-out thing, and it was very phony. Like, I can't say fake because that word's abused in the English language, but I'd say phony. It definitely had like it. I wanted to puke in my mouth a little bit when I heard that. But that's just me. I'm not saying it's gonna be the same thing for you. It's just my fucking opinion. You can like it, you can hate it, you can not like me for my opinion, but it's mine to share. So ICP comes out with nothing. Twiztid in the meantime, they're going to the fucking grindstone. So you got to give them props on that. But ICP's doing fuck all. Gathering anybody? Like, I'm hearing 2 different stories. They canceled the gathering. Like, well, I didn't hear it. Well, Shaggy Toodop talked about it on Keegan and the Creep. Okay. If it was said on Keegan and the Creep, Fagel lovers should have clipped it and uploaded it. Somebody should have gone and looked for it and found it. Because if I miss it, right, like that's what psychopathic radio was supposed to be, psychopathic TV, that podcast. They were supposed to be doing that shit. I get it's a pandemic. We are at the point now where you can sit down at a table that's big like that, and you can fucking have Rude Boy on this side and fucking Jump Steady on this side, and you guys can have a fucking conversation. Nope, we got fuck all. And it's what? It is May 10th. Sid Vicious's birthday. Again, happy birthday to Sid Vicious. And nothing. Fuck all. Like February, we were getting news. I remember Gathering the Juggalos 2019. We were already getting announcements. I remember in February, they did a psychopathic TV, and they revealed where it was going to be at. And people were like, yeah, even though we had no idea. People were just excited that it was in the Midwest. Some people were in California being like, fuck, another one in the Midwest. Like, I got to drive 13,000 miles. Like, this sucks. And I remember that. We got nothing. Fucking nothing. Go look up what it says when you go into Google, Gathering of the Juggalos. Go look that shit up. So ICP's really kind of kept in the dark, which means podcasters, they're like fans, right? So it kind of goes like this. Psychopathic Records, Insane Clown Posse or whatever, podcasters, and then fans of the podcasters and fans of the whatever. And podcasters tend to be fans as well. But now they're sitting here talking about, you had some fans that are talking about other Juggalos, like beef with them and shit. I'm like, this is kind of ICP's fault. Like, there's something they could talk about. There's something they could announce. They could announce next year's gathering. for 2022. Dropkick Murphys already announced their tour for 2022, taking off in January. Go over to the UK, to go over to Europe. Did you hear that, Inquisitor? They're going to be in the UK. They're going to be in Europe. They're going to be down in Australia and places like that. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. It's going to be excellent. I can't wait for that tour because I know I'm going to get footage of it. And sometimes we get a full hour live of them. And the Murphys are one of those bands. They sound so much better live than they do on anything else, like album wise. I mean, their albums are good, but when you hear them live, it's fucking excellent. That's why Live from Fenway Park is solid. Live from Lansdowne, the 2002 Dropkick Murphys live album that they did, all of it's solid. If somebody was like, hey, you want to listen to the Murphys, I'd probably pick one of their live albums. You know, that's what I was introducing friends to turn up that dial. They'd listen to it on Spotify, and I'd show them the fucking link for their release party where they did the entire album live, and then they did their 25th anniversary live. That's solid work. What did the Insane Clown Posse do? You got a half-ass subpar album, and fuck all about the biggest event of the year that people are poor. People go poor. They save up their money. I'm sure some of them sell their children so that way they've got money to go to the gathering with no guarantee of like a way back home where they sell like their most expensive merch. Hey man, you want to buy my 2000 limited edition diamond cut Hatchman pendant for like $60 so I can get home? Holy fuck, dude. Like don't buy merch from the Gathering of the Juggalos. Wait till the last day and just walk around with people holding up cardboard signs saying, hey, I'm selling my most expensive shit, my prized possessions, just so I can get home. Buy from them. Because you're still supporting ICP at that point, even though like you're like, oh, yeah, they get to keep the money from the Gathering. They get to keep it after a certain amount. It's all fucking profit after renting it and shit like that. Like I remember Jump Steady was like, yeah, sorry, there was no rides this year. I'm like, the Gathering of the Juggalos has rides? That's weird because I'd never been to one prior to 2019. Never been to one prior to 2019. College Driver says, there is a reason I've been focusing the wrestling side of things, not Juggalo shit on the Power Hour. So my point, College Driver proves my point. We had to go elsewhere for news, right? We had to go fucking elsewhere for it. You know me, I was like, okay, well, I'm waiting on fucking whatever news going on with the ICP world. We go to our other passions, punk rock and shit. You know what I was called for doing that, College Driver? A culture vulture. Now, at one point, there was a year where there was fucking Rancid dropped a new album. Twiztid was signing people on Magic Ninja Entertainment left and right. Psychopathic Records was on the brink of releasing Fearless Fred Fury, or we were getting promo for it at the very least. Some shit. So it was 2017, 2016 were good fucking years. Like it was a good time to be a music fan in 2016, 2017. I'll even say it was great to be a fan of music in 2018, 2019, for fuck's sakes. Like it was just solid front to back. Like we had new releases, new albums, we had concerts, we had tours. Like it was fucking something. But in the time when there's no concerts, right? Like we don't get to do a concert review because there wasn't a fucking concert. ICP's got a fucking Patreon that some people are bitching that they didn't get some of their shit, right? So, you know, you get to talk about how Zool might have gotten dicked over by Eminem. I can't, vouch for that. I can't confirm that, but I could definitely tell you that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. But you also had to go elsewhere. You had to go do your wrestling shit. Now, me, I tapped out of wrestling the same year that The Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar. Like, I couldn't watch wrestling the same way again. And then I read that he lost to fucking, what's his face? Roman Reigns. Like, so he lost 2 WrestleManias consecutively. I'm like, why would you do that? If anything, he should have lost the streak to Edge. Not to somebody like Brock Lesnar, who's a part-timer, But that's as much as I can tell you about wrestling, right? And that was fucking 2014. So to everybody else, that's old news. Nobody wants to hear that shit. So Kyle Driver, salute to you for going and covering something else other than the Juggalo world. Because again, you're not stopping what you're doing. You just have to go elsewhere. I used this reference last week. If you're going to sit there and wait for a burning building, or you're looking for a burning building, you don't stand for one and then hope somebody like fucking torches it. No, you either torch it yourself or you go to where there might be a fire or where you get reports of a fire. But if there's no reports of a fire and you're waiting to break news about a fire, you got to start it yourself, or you got to fucking, you can't just stand around, right? Like podcasters, what are we going to do? Sit around for our favorite bands to announce what? Do you know what would have happened if I had waited on Dropkick Murphys? I'd have had no content for 4 fucking years. Yeah. I had no content for 4 years. 5 years. Yeah, because their last album that they did was Signed and Sealed in Blood. Yeah. So that was 2013, I think. Yeah, it was 2013. So it's been a long fucking time. We would have waited quite a bit before Sid Jones ever talked about anything. So what I talk about, Guerrilla Voltage years back. Talked about Last American Rock Stars. Talked about what Eminem was doing. Then Eminem started, falling off the rails a bit. And I was like, well, I got to go elsewhere and cover something else. Like, that's just how it works. That doesn't make you a culture vulture. We all have different passions, right? We all have different passions that we could talk about. We don't have to sit there under one fucking guise. We don't have to sit there under one fucking glass ceiling. We can talk about whatever the fuck it is that we want. It doesn't make us culture vultures at all. If you've got a passion for hip hop and you've got a passion for punk rock, fucking talk about both. If you're waiting around for Lil Xan to come out with a new album and he's not, you might as well go find somebody else that's releasing music and go fucking report on that shit. All right. If you stay niche, like, that's on you entirely. So anyway, about the underground hip hop scene, which is one of the reasons why I'm done with it. I'm done with the whole fucking going to these shows and shit. Here's why. Okay. And I'm done like reporting on it. Like, and this is why I'm done with all that. I'm sick of going to the shows, seeing the same 30 people where it's almost like a reunion, right? And it's the same openers, right? Same fucking openers. It's the same fucking local artists. It's the same set. Sometimes they do different songs or whatever, but it's just old. It's boring. Some dingy place, fucking 35, 40 people show up. You're standing there and you're fucking, you look at the shirts and you're like $30 for a t-shirt. And you're like, nah, I don't fucking like any of those designs enough to spend $30 on it. It's just, so you go to the bar, like basically you go there to drink and meet beautiful women. And hopefully, you score, unless you're married like Kyle Driver, who's got a very gorgeous wife. And, you're kind of like, so really you're going to a show to like go see your favorite band, support your favorite band. But like, if you only get to see your band for like, you get to wait. Your doors open at 4, but they don't play till fucking 11. You don't want to sit there and watch Two Dick Larry or fucking Knowledge to MC fucking perform first, right? And nobody does. Nobody does, especially in the summer. Especially in the summer, everyone's outside until about 7 o'clock at night. Everyone's outside. They grab their drinks, they go outside, and they'll sit there and chain smoke their packs of cigarettes, smoke their fucking joints, smoke their fucking blunts. That's what they do. Nobody gives a fuck until you're there to see whomever. Why? I saw Dropkick on tour for that album. No shit. I got to see them for 2016 for their 20th annual, and I got to see them on 2 of their St. Patrick tours. I've never seen them for like an album one. Like I've never seen them for that. I guess you could say that after 11 Short Stories came out, that was like their tour for the album. Maybe. But it wasn't listed as such. It was the St. Patty's Day tour. But I did get to see them for the 20th annual. I got to see them at their second annual Irish Festival. I got to see them with Blood and Whiskey. Blood or Whiskey, I should say. A fucking great band. And I got to see some of their boxing and shit like that. Like, it was a good time. I had a good time at that Irish Festival. There was camping, there was tenting. It was very much not like The Gathering. And this is why I'm not shitting on The Gathering. If you guys are wondering, so you were at The Gathering, like you said, you had a good time. I did. I actually prefer, like, if you said go to the Murphy's Irish Festival or go to The Gathering, I would say The Gathering simply because, like, over at the Murphy's thing, there was security. Like, I mean, like, fucking security. People in yellow shirts. Cops were, like, roaming around with their fucking dogs out in the mountains of New Hampshire. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like, they had different stages set up for, like, different bands to play. And, they had food and whatnot. But, like, The Gathering, dude, like, you don't deal with cops. Like, if you stab a motherfucker and you leave their body out in the woods and you tell not a soul, you just got away with murder, essentially. Like, it is a free-for-all at The Gathering of the Juggalos. That is more my environment. I said it. I fucking said it, and I'll say it again. When they burned that fucking picnic table and they just burned shit, I'm like, I like that. I'm down for that cause, And people are like, that was wrong to do. And I'm like, it's fucking Juggalos. Like, that's the shit that they do. Like I was telling people, you can shit on the music all you want, but until you go to a gathering, you're like, dude, these guys know how to fucking party, right? It's almost like us cool kids, sitting there drinking our fucking, White Claws and there's like a party next door. Like we're sitting there, like we're having a good party, guy. Kyle Driver's on there shooting some pool, banging his wife in the fucking hot tub. I'm like, yeah, see, we're crazy over here. But meanwhile, there's a fucking orgy going on next door. Fucking mayhem and bedlam. And all it is a cop just waiting for people to leave the party instead of like going in like trashing the place. And you're like, fuck, I kind of want to go in there. Yeah, if you want to go fucking party and fucking party hard, there's a reason why people wait for the gathering, the Juggalos. It's reasons like that. Like I know some of the gatherings aren't like that. I know that. Like there was one where it was like cops everywhere, and like there was the incident at Drug Bridge at one of the gatherings. So I get it. Not all of them are fucking excellent, but for that being their 20th annual gathering of the Juggalos, I find that kind of interesting. I got to be at the 20th annual gathering of the Juggalos. I got to be at the 20th annual tour for the Dropkick Rivers. Like 20th annuals, I kill that shit. But again, when it comes to the underground shows, these motherfuckers that a majority of them, by the way, like majority of the fans that like go to these shows are artists themselves. And people are really getting sick of hearing, hey, I'm a rapper. And I said this last week and I'll say it again. Back in 1999, you told somebody you were a rapper, bam, like that woman falls on her back, fucking spread eagle, right? Like that's what happens. But when it comes to, other shit, later on down the road, like I'm in a band. That was cool in 97, 98, 99. Like you're all getting laid, right? But later on, I ain't like that. Like, especially now, if you tell somebody you're a rapper, the woman's like, oh God, I got to take care of them. I got to feed. I got all these responsibilities. Like, fucking God, just shoot me dead. Like, you don't put that shit on your fucking Tinder. You don't put that shit on your fucking dating profiles. You just fucking don't. Like, it's not appealing. So, like, it's one of those things you mention, like, after the 3-week mark when you guys are talking about marriage and shit. Then you bring it up. And then it's a testament to how much she actually loves you, right? And how good you were in the sack. So, there's that. But there is a hypocrisy when it comes to the underground hip-hop. Like, for them, it's like they're artists and nothing else, right? It's like they ride for them. They die for theirs. Them and their 3 fans that they don't promote for them. They're just like, yeah, they're like the kids in high school, like, oh, well, this is so special to me, and I do this on a Friday night that nobody else knows about. Yeah, you and your 3 friends, when really in the modern era, you should be promoting the fuck out of them, like showing them mad love and shit. But it ain't like that no more. It fucking sucks. The idea of promoting is terrible. It's like, hey, can you share this for me? And you're cautious. Like, I'm sure Kyle Driver and I'm sure Trip Nasty get this all the time. They're like, hey, you check out my music, and you dread it for a minute. Like, you're like, oh, fuck, please don't let this suck. Please don't let this suck. So you wait for 10, 15 inboxes, and then you get you and your friends together to like go through and listen to it, because it's more entertaining to like sit there and talk about it. And sometimes half the time you guys are in the middle of a conversation, you ain't fucking listening to the song anyway. So if it was a good conversation, it was a good song. We're in that stage, They're depending on us fuckers to promote for them. But you gotta like their shit. You gotta be down with their shit. And you gotta be down with their crew. It's very close knit, very kind of like, inner city thug mentality. Not bad for a bunch of skinny white boys with fucking tattoos. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure I'm talking about the Bobby Does out there, like that, like people like that fucking guy, sweet baby Jesus. Like, and the thing is, there's so many Bobby Does out there. People like, fuck Bobby Doe. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, that's a community of people. That's a community of shitbags. Sid Jones is bullying on YouTube. YouTube ain't going to give a fuck. They've already demonetized me. So if you want to go ahead and you like this show, throw me a buck or two on my Cash App, or fucking don't. I don't fucking care. I'm paid the same either way. So in the underground hypocrisy, Bobby Doe actually told me one time, we were doing a Rock CV Weekly. He said, punked out of a heroin overdose in the 70s or 80s, or was a Suboxone overdose or whatever the fuck. And I told him, Nipsey Hussle died of Leadon's diet. So everyone got upset about that, but I was left to defend my own when it came to punk rock shit. Well, then DMX died not too long ago of a drug overdose, heart attack from doing drugs. And I just wondered, where was Bobby Doe for that? So yeah, I say fuck that guy. If you guys don't know who Bobby Doe is, think of the worst shit bag that you've met at a concert that's always looking for a fight at your local shows, and then thinks he's a big deal when he hosts a show for 3 people. right? Kind of like a garden gnome, right? Like the garden gnome that we all know. That is what a Bobby Doe is. Okay. So you know the guy. Like, even if you've never met him, trust me, that's who he is. That's how I've described him as. Thinks he's a hot shot, stabs people in the back, and you all know somebody like that in your local town. You know somebody like that that's down the street from you. That's who that is. So, and I'm not the only one that thinks that way. He will try and sleep with your girlfriend. Yeah, I said it. Inquisitor writes, these days, a lot of young rappers die from lead poisoning. The Inquisitor's right. I think I should highlight that comment. I think that I think he's spot on with that. Yeah, he's fucking right on that. He's absolutely right. See, I like this show. I like it when it's close knit like this. I like that. You know, if it was one of those chats where it's like fucking just like exploding, it'd be overwhelming. I like this platform. I like having a small thing. But like I said, smart people watch my show. That's why there's not many of them. That's why there's not many people in the chats. You know, it's saved for intelligent people that can have conversation. So I think it's a bad idea for Twiztid to open up for Rob Zombie. Final verdict. Well, now knowing that it's a festival and knowing it's probably going to be, you know, smaller stage, I think, you know, get what you can get. If it was going to be like full on, like, okay, like we're like co-headlining, man, that would, like, with the music you've got in your arsenal right now, right? Like, you've got Nothing to You, you've got Generation Nightmare, and a couple of okay songs, right? Not really enough to go into the heavy rock, hard rock, you know, metal scene. You've barely gotten press on your new album from anybody. A couple of like obscure reviews. Hey, check out this review from fucking JoeDudesBasement.com. Okay, yeah, I'll be sure to click on that one right the fuck away. You feel me? Like, but that's how it works. Like, there's like when you've got 6 million artists, what grows? What grows from that? You've got 6 million podcasts or 6 million fucking news websites. It's become saturated. And I think it was Des Luca who said it best. He said, no matter what you do, no matter what you fucking do, everything gets oversaturated at some point. The more artists you got, the more podcasters you've got, the more podcasters you got, the more news pages come out. And eventually it just becomes too fucking much. And eventually someone's got to bow out. Hence my retirement in November. Like, I'm done with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not hearing this. Like, my opinions aren't exactly different from somebody else's, you know? And you could be like, oh, fucking, dude sucks a dick, you know, fucking username, whatever. He talked about this the other day. Okay, so he fucking did. I have no idea that guy exists, but that's part of the problem with oversaturation. You have no idea who exists. You have no idea who's doing what. You just don't. You fucking don't. You know? I can't keep track of everything. You know, hey, how come you're not talking about what happened with this album? Because I fucking didn't know about it. All right? I talked to you about the things that I do find out. The things that are on my radar. Such as Twiztid and Rob Zombie. Such as the Insane Clown Posse still not giving you guys content. Which I think is kind of sad. And it's leaving podcasters like us that are, you know, Juggalo podcasters. It depends on who you talk to. Of course, it is up to the Juggalos on who's a Juggalo and who's not. You no longer get to decide if you are a Juggalo. You have to go through a process of like other motherfuckers that will tell you whether or not you are or are not. That's not me being a dick. It's just facts. So back in the day when I was growing up, it was if you like the Insane Clown Posse, you're a Juggalo, you're part of their fan base. But now they've got these set of like rules and guidelines and shit like that. Like, well, you don't have the family mentality. Like, you wouldn't look out for your brother. I saved a dude from getting his ass whooped at the gathering of the Juggalos. Well, it didn't save him from happening, but I prevented it from getting worse, significantly worse, potentially fucking brutal. Like, I fucking did that shit. Do I qualify yet? You didn't do it soon enough. You didn't come in a cape. You didn't come in looking like a superhero. You didn't come in, you know, fucking face painted, yelling whoop whoop. Like, close, but not quite there. You've got Juggalos that they've got that. And guess what, guys? It's the same thing in the punk community, same thing in the rock community, same thing in the metal community. That's everywhere. And people call it gatekeeping. I call it cuntanese. That's what I call it. I call it cuntanese, cunts on their knees is what I call it. You know, they're so busy sucking the dicks of the fucking head honchos that they feel like that just because that they're getting a load put inside of them that they get to then distribute these rules and these laws because I've sucked so-and-so's dick. So that means I'm somebody, right? Like I hear it all the time. They're like, oh, I'm dating this one guy from so-and-so. I'm like, listen. You ever telling somebody that you're dating Sid Jones is not a bragging right. I'm going to let you know that right now, ladies. Which I've noticed, I've got more women on my Facebook that tune into my show, and over here it's a sausage fest. We got to kind of fix that a bit. But anyways, like you're doing your own shows, fucking awesome. You're putting together your own shows, you're doing something, I guess, right? Like I guess I should respect that, but at the same time, you can't expect me to like it or to want to like it. Like if you've got 35 artists on a bill, that's too fucking many. If it's not a festival, it's too fucking many. If it's not a 2-day event, it's too fucking many. All right. It's just, it's a lot. It should always be 5 artists, 2 headliners, 3 openers, or it should be 3 headliners and 2 open. 5 is plenty. 5 is plenty. Doors open at 7. You're out by 1 o'clock in the morning. You get to see her. That's how it should be. That's what you should do. And you should, and if it's going to be just 5 bands, you can charge that other band more fucking money. Oh, they can't afford it? Then they probably aren't worth their weight in salt to be performing that anyways. And if you want Twiztid to break into the rock world, if you're rooting for Twiztid, if you're one of the ones that are saying Twiztid should do XYZ, they should leave the Juggalo community, then here's what they should do. They should call up other bands, right? I got a fucking an address book of fucking phone numbers of bands they could be hitting up. A lot of them have a lot of legacy to them. A lot. They should be hitting up those bands being like, hey, let's go do a fucking 6-week tour together. Hey, let's go do this. Really put the fucking work on it. But they're not there yet. That's why they're sticking it with, we'll do this thing with Rob Zombie and we'll go do XYZ for this fest. But if they were really down for the cause and they believed in their product, they would be out on tour. Matter of fact, back to what I was saying, if I was the head executive of, whatever record label, I don't think that I would put me first. I don't think I would put that duo first. If I just signed 1, 2, 3, 4 artists, am I right on that number? 4 or 5 artists to welcome to the underground? I'd be pushing them. Like, why would I be performing with Inquisitor, a 2-piece rap group, when I could be having fucking the Horror, who's a legit band, play at the fucking zombie thing? Fly them out, get them their exposure. All right? I think that'd be more suiting. I think I would do something like that. If I was the guy in charge, it would make more sense. I would save Twiztid for something like, I don't know, maybe making shit work so they could play at the Gathering of the Juggalos, right? But they want to expand. They want to do XYZ. Well, didn't they just have fucking crazy ass bands play in 2019? Bands you wouldn't expect. Like, I don't understand why. Like, you're still getting that exposure. I mean, sure, it's still Juggalos, but there's still other people that are just music fans that are at the Gathering. I've seen it. I've met motherfuckers. I've met Zooligans at the Gathering of the Juggalos. I've met people that flew in from fucking Canada to like, what is this weird ass Gathering of the Juggalo shit where people run around in face paint? Like, let's just go down there, camp, and fuck around, or let's get a hotel. I mean, tickets are like, what, $199? We're not doing fucking anything that weekend anyway, so let's just go down there and fuck with these guys, right? And then they get to go and tell their friends about it or whatever. You think about it. You and me talk about the Gathering of the Juggalos. You and me talk about ICP shows and shit. Can you imagine somebody who's not familiar with that music for the first time ever being at the Gathering of the Juggalos? That's a story I want to hear. Find that person and then get an interview with them so that way they can share their story. Twiztid still had as much opportunity to get a bigger fan base, a better fan base, utilizing something like Gathering of the Juggalos. But if they want to continue going this rock route, they might want to consider something. And I mean it with love, but this is something they should really consider. They should consider maybe, I don't know, changing their name. If you don't want to be synonymous with something, and there's Rob Zombie fans out there. A lot of Juggalos are Rob Zombie fans, but not every Rob Zombie fan is a fan of the Insane Clown Posse. They're not all Juggalos. But if they recognize you as those ICP guys, you did it to yourselves. You kind of shot yourself in the face. And I mean, like, Courtney Love shot Kurt Cobain in the face type shit is what I'm saying. All right? Like, that's what you've done. So in my honest opinion, what I think should happen, they should push the Horror. They should do a super group with them. Put them on the bill. Sign themselves up for that. That would be excellent. It would make more sense. Money-wise, promotion-wise, let's see more of the product. Imagine you see Twiztid and the horror for the first time. You'd at least stop and look. But if you saw Twiztid and you know them from the ICP camp, yeah, you're not going to stop. You're going to probably heckle their fans. The people that are there. You feel me? It's not good. It's not good. Better planning. Better ideas. You can't just be Twiztid, change your logo, change your font, change your whatever, and then go and play rock shows. Like, that's not quite how that works for revamping and for rebranding. That's poor business decisions. If it were the Insane Clown Posse, they've got something that works, and they're not trying anything new. As a matter of fact, Rob Zombie could hit him up and be like, hey, let me come play your gathering next year and shit. Right? And so Zombie fans, and that's the kicker. That's the important thing right there. Because then they find out Rob Zombie played at the gathering of the Juggalos. Your average Rob Zombie fan might sit there and say, typical. You know, he was in it for the money. He probably wasn't working that weekend. He probably wasn't on tour. So he went and did that for you guys. But then there could be the other Rob Zombie fan that says, hey, if Rob Zombie's willing to perform at a gathering of the Juggalos, maybe I should go. Maybe that would be an opportunity for me to really hang out with Juggalos and see what the whole thing's about. Magic Ninja Entertainment should be doing things like that. Making festivals, building up shit, and having people play for them, with them. That's what they should do. Because think about it. Fucking Prince's band there. They played at the gathering of the Juggalos on the second day. Anyways, all these bands play, like fucking Vinny Paz and Vinny played at the gathering of the Juggalos. Juggalos down for the fucking cause. It's good for fucking Vinny Paz because now he's got people that are going to go check out that new album. They'll be like, dude, I saw him play at the gathering. Like, I'm going to start like fucking following him on everything as soon as I get Wi-Fi. Genius planning. It's mutually beneficial. Twiztid should be doing something like their own gathering, their own thing. They've got Attack of the Ninjas with their own artists. I think one year they had Ritz. I'll be honest, I don't like Ritz's music. So it wasn't appealing to me. People were like, oh, Ritz is now down with Twiztid. And I was like, or he was looking for a payday. See what I'm saying? It gets a little fucking wonky. It gets weird. It's strange. So, big picture. When it comes to promotion, when it comes to concerts. And I mean this. I really do. And I hope people are following along with this train of thought. Start putting out news for a gathering. I know you're like afraid of like a cancellation or whatever the fuck. But Google's already got something out there, so go check that out. Make sure you guys are putting together something great. And please stop with these like Juggalo started events. Gathering in the Matrix was solid. People were trying to put together their own gathering shits, and I was told the worst horror stories. And it involved like mud, drugs, and lots of cops. And I'm like, yeah, that's why you leave it to the fucking professionals. But the professionals should also be paving the way for other people. Yeah, I mean that. They should be paving the way for other people. Think about it, all right? If Psychopathic stops working as a record label, do they suddenly fucking retire? What happens to the gatherings? Well, Juggalos are going to start doing them themselves, and it's going to be a fucking trailer park fucking mess, right? It's going to be bad. And the people that do go, who are like fucking diehards, they're going to go, probably get their shit fucked up. There's no license. Like, do any of these people understand business when it comes to licensing and renting and fucking insurance and all that shit? No. Where were these people playing? On the back of fucking trucks, maybe. Because I seriously doubt they had their own fucking grand stage. Probably playing on a hill somewhere. You got to go to places. You got to go to events. And you really, if you're going to do something like that, like, fucking good on you for your ambition. But your execution fucking sucks, right? And then, of course, you've got the aftermath. So Psychopathic Records, Magic Ninja Entertainment, both have a long way to go. Both of them are failing in their own ways. Twiztid's getting a little too ambitious and really jumping the gun. And then you've got the Insane Clown Posse that just doesn't seem motivated. So you've got one that's like, oh, we're gonna go and capitalize and get these fans to like kind of like come over to the Magic Ninja fucking department. Yet they still have a bad taste in their mouth. And some of them don't even like Juggalos yet. You're still rocking the face paint. You're still doing that shit and still chanting for the Juggalos all at the same time. Revamp that a bit. To the Insane Clown Posse, you should be doing podcasts and things like that. You should be doing more discussions. And I get why Violent J wouldn't. This guy gets ideas in his head and he announces them, which I get. Ken Casey's done the same thing. Ken Casey announced that we were getting 2 Dropkick Murphys albums. We were getting 11 short stories of Pain and Glory and then another one that following November. And that didn't happen. Didn't fucking happen. Didn't happen. So, and I was wrong, by the way, what I said earlier. Nobody caught me on this, but Sign, Seal, and Blood wasn't their last album they did. It was 11 short stories of Pain and Glory, and that came out in 2017, I do believe. Yeah, it came out in 2017. Am I right on that? Pretty sure it did. Yeah, it came out 2017 because it came out after their 20th annual tour, which was 2016. So 2017, that album came out, and it was a good album, but that was the last one they did up until Turn Up That Dial. So, if you're a podcaster and you want shit to talk about, find something else to talk about, because apparently there's nothing going on with the Insane Clown Posse world. Do I recommend drama with other Juggalos? Not necessarily. I think it's futile. I think it's petty. For entertainment purposes, probably. I'm not going to stick my head in that race. I'm not going to instigate that whole thing. I don't like the Bender Boys, and I've stated why. And I don't like where the Juggalo world is at. Nothing for me to report. So if you guys want, I'll be fucking reporting on some other shit. But as far as I know, like, at least you got something. At least you got something. If you've been waiting for Juggalo news, waiting for something to come out of the woodworks and you wanted an opinion on it, you got it. So you're welcome for that. And I did that on the birthday of one of my fucking heroes, Sid fucking Vicious. So you can sit there and shit on my heroes all you want. You can sit here and shit on the music that I like, the music that I prefer. But here's the kicker. You tell me I'm not a Juggalo, whatever, it doesn't hurt my feelings. But at least I did something for you. I talked to you about some shit that I don't give a fuck about. And I did that shit for you. Now, I think that's pretty fucking selfless. Now, I'm not asking for a thank you. I'm not asking for a donation in return. I'm asking for nothing in return. I'm just saying to keep that in mind. That I came on here on a fucking Monday to tell you. I got some other shit I wanted to talk about. I had a lot of other things. I wanted to dedicate this whole thing to Sid Vicious. I want to dedicate this to my own fucking beefs, my own fucking venting. I've got a book I wanted to promote. Instead, I came out here and talked about some garbage fucking shit. Like, I had to make something out of nothing. That's what I had to do. That's the route that I took. So you guys had, something. Because what I see in the Juggalo community ain't much. What album was better? The Wraith? Or Great Malenko? Well, let me give you my 45-minute explanation. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Not a fucking soul. I know that because people like drama. I know that because people like friction and they love to be able to fight people and they love to be able to argue and debate. So once a week, you get an hour of Sid Jones running his mouth, talking shit about the things that nobody else seems to be talking about. I wait. There's podcasters. I want them to talk about this matter. Would love to hear their thoughts on it, right? But no, what they do is they announce it, say this is dope, and move on. I'm so sick of that. That's one of the reasons why I left Rocks TV, man. I wanted to be able to dedicate an hour to something rather than just give you like and in other news, Twiztid will be opening up for Rob Zombie out here in Michigan this year. Looks like festivals are going to be happening this year. Looks like we're getting punk rock bowling as well. So make sure you guys are looking out for tickets for that. If you guys are interested, tickets are $35 in advance. So if you guys want to, it's going to be down in Las Vegas, Nevada this year. So that's punk rock bowling. Also in other news, some dude got his dick sucked yesterday in the back of a cab. Officials say it was a transgender. And people are getting in trouble for saying that on. Like, I'm not going to give you that fucking spiel, dude. I ain't going to do that shit. You feel me on that? Like, that's not what I do. I come on here. I tell you what you want to know. Tell you what I think you want to know. give you my thoughts, give you my opinions. And if you ain't down with that, fuck what you think. I'm going to catch you on the next fucking one. Say goodnight to the bad fucking guy. Much love and much respect. Like, share, subscribe, and all that good fucking happy shit. Peace.